Hello again, everybody. Sebastian Kins here with another Watcher of Realms video. In this video, I am actually here in the free-to-play account, and we were able to achieve one of the big milestones for an account to optimize the runes that were given daily, and that is reaching 20,000 blood on Nightmare 4. As you heard me tell you in the preview, one of the things that I really wanted to do in this free-to-play account was trying to push Nightmare 4 and at least get it to 20,000 blood points. And one of the big obstacles that you have to try to conquer when you are battling the Forest Belial is that you have to break that third shield. And sometimes for some people it's really hard to do. So I am going to show you how I actually approached it and how another deviation of a comp that I was able to come up with in this account to try to get you over this hump. Because if you can take one of your runes and get 20,000 points here and get two of these chests, especially if you're in a guild where Nightmare 4 is being taken down lately, you're going to have an opportunity to possibly get some ancient and legendary summoning crystals, maybe a soulstone. You'd be really lucky if you do, but you start getting these legendary crystals, which are really important to try to level up some of your legendaries heroes. And then of course, if you're already hitting 20,000 blood on 4, you're definitely going to hit now 18,000 on what is 3, and you're going to have an opportunity to get similar rewards, although the odds are not as big as they are here in number 4. And then of course you then try to jump into the 30,000 range. You get the achievement that you can unlock, and then eventually you'll want to try to get to 50,000. So okay, so let me give you a quick glimpse of how things shaped up for this. So the first thing that I want to show you is so the composition that I am using that is RNG friendly, and I can just auto it as long as I have the proper gear set up on my heroes right now, is this one here, where I can at least in one try get 23,000. And as you can see, I am getting the use out of Torador out of this, especially with its faction ally boost. And my primary heroes in these that are doing the damage are Abomination, Damus, and yes, I am using Bladov and Valeria, which was luckily one of the Nightmare heroes that I was able to summon in this account. Of course, if you have like Salazar or Arrogance, they can do just as competent job at this as possible. I'm also using Wrath here on the side. I don't really have any other heroes that can provide me the boost that I need to try to really get that third shield down, but I am using him. He is not getting the benefit of the Lord bonus though, because he does not fit on the top row, but he does allow me to get into the this combination here does allow me to get into the 23,000 range with a little bit of a boost here. I am using Laurel and I am using Hollow. So I am using the Rage Regen strat that you're going to use. Finally, my Dolores is at 5 here in this free-to-play account, so we can definitely toy around with that. I have been lucky to summon Abomination twice. Lucky, you know, quote unquote, but he does a phenomenal job. I mean, he is an underrated hero, I think. If you once you start getting stacked up with the silences and the hex, and this Abomination goes to the side. But if you really want to push your account, you can definitely use Abomination for this. So the combination that I'm using here is essentially Blada, because he applies the bleed, and based on the artifacts that I have, and I'll show you that at the end, I am taking advantage of that with Abomination because I am giving him Scarlet Hunt. So one of the things and one of the limitations here that you are probably going to have are going to be your fighter artifacts, especially if you're free to play. There's only so many runs that you can do in AMR to try to get some of the best artifacts for the game, and then RNG plays a role into that. So I'm going to show you the artifacts that I'm using on these heroes, and I could have gotten to this a lot sooner, I think, if the RNG would have hit with me and given me the artifacts that I really do need to make sure that this comp pops. But eventually we got there with the ones that we do have. So this is the one that I use every day. Now let me show you an example where you could possibly use to get into that 20,000 range. Okay, so here, this is a clip that I collected while I was doing different trials, but this is, I think that this was the one that worked very well, and I think it would be really easy for you folks to try to replicate if it comes down to that. And let me get back up here because I did go a little bit fast and I wanted to, but you can see that I'm kind of keeping the same roster that I had on the previous run, right? You can get Abomination from the Fusion. We can get Bladov, especially now if you're in the public server that we have in the Fusion going on. So that's an easily to acquire now epic that you can use. And he gives us the bleed that we need to get some extra damage. Damus 5, we know he is great for this, so I'm going to use him. Now here in this example here, now I'm bringing Roth up to the top, and I'm going to use his lore bonus. And I took Toreador out because not many people have Toreador. And in my other run, I wasn't really using Toreador at all. All I wanted him to do is just deploy him, give me the lore bonus, and I would then draw him back. And even in that build red, all he had was an invigoration set, only to give the attack up to whoever was next to him. So he wasn't really part of the battle at all. We were just using him for the lore bonus. You can see here in the bottom that I am boosting Dolores with Pyros. Pyros I'm only bringing in because of his vulnerability. He gives me that extra boost that I need to get the damage done. And I'm bringing in Volca just to give me the opportunity to rotate things a little bit quicker so I can get that second shield and then the third shield down as quickly as possible. Let me play this out now. And hopefully I'm not here in the way too much so you can see what I was actually doing here. So my first layout here was going to be Valeria. So make sure that that's your hardest hitter, that you place them there. Now, when I'm placing Dolores down, I'll show you the builds at the end. But Dolores is an invigoration set, so she'll give it to Valeria. I have Abomination here right next to Valeria. Hollow is also in an invigoration set, so he'll get an attack up. I'm going to place Laurel down now, and one of the things about Laurel is that she's also in an invigoration set, so she'll boost up Damus. I have placed here Bladov for the bleed, and you're going to see me here place Volca right next to him. He's going to give the boost to her, to him, and he'll now have attack up on him because Volca is also in an invigoration set. I'm bringing Pyrus down here. Now I'm going to use him for the invulnerability. I do have Ross here on the side, so he won't get the benefit from Dolores, unfortunately. And he does not have any boost on him, so he's just there to provide me some extra damage and give me the lore bonus that I need to try to complete this run. So right now I'm just kind of playing it loose with the ultimates. I'm just trying to get them going as soon as possible, get as much damage as I can at the beginning before I start timing things a little bit better, right? Valeria, we have to be really careful as to when to use her ultimate so she does not die during the run.
Shall we dance?
So yeah, so right now I'm also kind of keeping an eye on Abomination's rage bar, just to make sure that I can also time the attack up from Dolores at the times that I need him to do as much damage as possible. All right, so you saw me recall Pyrus, and here, right like at the 320 mark, is when I'm bringing in Laurel because I want her to start boosting people for that second shield, which now is in the 250-ish range, 246 range. Kind of changed a little bit after the most recent update. At least here in the Forerunner servers it has. I have not noticed it too much in the public server. I haven't been paying that close attention to it. So I kind of have Hollow healing wherever at all possible, but I have her built so she kind of just gives me those tiny burst heals so the rage regen can start building up a little bit quicker. So in one, she doesn't heal you all in one shot. That's kind of what I was aiming for with her build there. All right, so here comes the second one. So here is where kind of all the ultimates are being activated wherever possible. Pyrus was a little bit late, but it did not hurt me in this round. Get the vulnerabilities applied. You can kind of see how everybody's acting up. Now, here is what I'm noticing. I'm in the 11,000 range after that second shield when he's knocked down. The dragon is knocked down. I'm feeling good now because if I can break the third shield, I know I can get to 20,000. So again, here's when I'm kind of looking at things, looking to see when this rage builds, the buildup is going to occur. Valeria is a little bit behind, which is fine, but we still have 20 seconds before that third shield comes back up. Okay, so perfect. Now that we're in low health, I can activate Hollow's ultimate, and now she's doing the burst healing, especially to everybody that you can. Yes, make sure you balance it out, right? So she doesn't heal you all at one time, but she gives you that burst healing that you need just to get your rage all built up. So here's where the third shield is going to come up, and here's where I'm activating all the ultimates. And now it's a race against time, right? So here I'm just hoping that I'm doing as much damage as I can before that sped comes in. Luckily, we were able to time things because Abomination got his ultimate going as well. And so we were able to break it. So I'm going to call back now Pyrus because I do want to make sure that I do get to 20,000. So I'm going to bring in Laurel to make sure that we can get the ultimates up at least one more time. Okay, so I activated Laurel's ultimate to give me the initial burst. Now I'm gonna call her back. Now I'm gonna get the additional burst on the rage regen. Now I can activate it just at will. We only have 19 seconds. I don't really care if Valeria dies after her ultimate because we're running out of time anyway. And hopefully Pyrus can give me one more ultimate. And there we go. We're past the 20,000, but that's essentially how I wanted things to approach. And given that we have Volca here at the same time, we're able to get this rotation going a little bit quicker. So there, that was almost 22,000 with this composition without Thorador. You can see Valeria and Abomination did very well along with Damus, and Wrath held his own, right? So at least with that, that was the type of damage that I was able to get out of these heroes to get me the 22,000. Of course, with Thorador, we're going to get a little bit more, given that we get the extra boost with him being a legendary lord. But just with this composition, you can see that you can do very well in trying to get to that 20,000 range. Yeah, so I was just going back here down just to give me an idea of how much I did with Thorador, and there's the difference, right? So you're gonna get a little bit more damage out of your heroes once you start using legendary lords in your team. So let's stop here at Wrath. So for Wrath in this example, I decided to go with an H-Lith Wrath set that I was able to put together specifically for him. So one of the things that I try to do or try to follow as the gear allows me to do is to at least go 3 times attack and try to get into the 300 critical damage range, as long as we have some good speed on our heroes to try to get the build-ups set up. So you can see that he is going a little bit fast. He does have a lot of critical damage, and he does have decent attack. Let me go to the next one here. So I clicked on Vladov. He is another one that is an H-Lith set. Was trying to push him to 300 critical damage, but was not able to do so. He's at 284, but he does have the 300 speed that we were able to farm with these sets. Like I told you, because he does apply bleed, I put him in one of the Scarlet Hunts that I do have in this account. And for Wrath, I had to go with the Eye of the Scene because that's one of the ones that I had for AoE damage, so I might as well get it onto him. Unfortunately, in this account, I do not have Realm of Terror. I do not have. I only have one crystal of what used to be COB. Now is the Wailing artifact. So yeah, I only had one of that. Damon's here, you can see he's almost at 12,000 attack, 336 critical damage, and he does have 372 speed. And for this trial, or at least in my builds, the SA set, I found that gives me a little bit more damage than did the Infernal, and a lot of that has to do because of his ultimate being a 10 hitter. And Abomination, I do have him in an Infernal set. You can see 21,000 attack, almost 300 critical damage, and some decent speed for him to go. And the reason that I'm boosting his damage too is because I'm also putting him in a Scarlet Hunt set, so he benefits from the bleed being applied by Blade of Valoraya. I have her in the what was it again? The Flux Pendant, which I got from the Rift, I believe, and I just leveled that one up and I gave it to her because as her HP decreases, she does a little bit more damage. Almost 20,000 attack, almost 400 speed, 304 critical damage. Now, the builds here might look insane to you for a free-to-play account, but do keep in mind that when I can, I will set this to farm over in GR3 or GR2 or even GR1 whenever there's a tournament going on, just to at least use the multi-battles and whatever stamina you use, whatever stamina we are given. So as long as you farm, you'll be lucky enough to get one or two pieces that you can put together to form some very good sets. Like I told you, Volka, she's just in an invigoration set, excuse me. Same thing with Laura, it's just an extra invigoration set that I had laying it down. And I give her a little bit of HP just to make sure that she didn't die. Her artifact doesn't really matter.
The doll is ready.
Or Hollow. So Hollow's build, I do have the Euphoric Orb on her. Let me go back to Hollow's build. I think I do come back to it later because I do want to make sure. Dolores. Okay, so Dolores, you know her build by now, especially if you're getting into the late game. Invigoration set. I did give her the Keen so we could provide extra attack to the heroes surrounding her, and then just load her up with as much attack as possible, just to make sure that she can give you the most out of her inspiration. So here's where I go back to Hollow because I wanted to show you. So here is where I decided to go healing effect on one piece, attack bonus on another one, and in the other one I just gave her rage regeneration. So that's why you see it almost at 100. The thing was that I didn't want to load her attack too much. I wanted to give her enough HP so she survived, but I didn't want to give her too much attack that she would be healing everybody that she tried to heal with in one burst. I just wanted to be kind of a drop of healing into every hero that she did manage to heal, so we could get as many heals as possible so we can build up the rage regeneration that she does gives us. So that's why I come back to this one, just to show you there. And I think that was it. Oh, for Pyrus, I do have the Tear of Twilight on him, and I gave him an SA set. Just a very average SA set that I had laying around. You saw it's not even crit cap, and almost 300 critical damage, but not much. And as you saw, I'm mostly using him for the vulnerability, but once I boosted up his stats, he did give me that extra boost that I needed. Make sure that we can get into the 20,000. So that's kind of the idea, to just give you a general sense of what you can do with your account once you get pieces that you might be able to get. Use your bullions that you get from farming GR1, GR2, GR3, so you can ascend some of these pieces here, because you summon some with H-less Wrath, and then some of these pieces here being Infernal. And some of these pieces were either Night Terrors or Wisdoms that I converted over so I could complete a set like this. So there are benefits from doing that, right? So just make sure that you're looking at this and you're saying, okay, you have a lot of good pieces there. It's because I've been trying to min-max the farm, and I've been also trying to min-max the bullions in the forging material, or not the forging material, the foundry materials that we get, to try to get some of these pieces here. And so that's where some of them are coming in as well. So just keep that in mind, that as you work your free-to-play account, that's exactly how you're going to get some of these pieces here. And you saw on some of the builds on my left-hand side, it's not really optimal yet, because some of them are still in annihilating sets, whirlwind sets, calamity sets. So there weren't anywhere I'm really using Warlord yet. Maybe on Valerian, if I remember correctly. So you can... that I have been really focusing on trying to get the pieces on the right-hand side to make sure that we can do as much damage as we can and not be too dependent on the left-hand side. But now, if I start farming GR1 a little bit more religiously, as I did GR2 and GR1, maybe we can start improving in some of these builds so we can get a little bit more damage on them, out of them, to push us into the 30,000 range. So just keep that in mind. You can do, as long as you're faithful in your farming, you should be able to tackle this just as well. And if you don't have the pieces on the right-hand side, then try to get some Warlord sets placed on your heroes, so you're not too dependent on trying to get attack speed and a lot of crit damage or attack bonus on the right-hand side. So there's a balancing act. It's just how you decide to approach it. For me, it was GR3, GR3, and then maybe some GR2, just to make sure that we can get some very good sets for the right-hand side. Okay? I hope this kind of tips kind of helped you a little bit to try to get into that 20,000 range. I know that I'm going to try to work on getting this composition here, free-to-play composition, into the 30,000 range, and you might actually have better heroes than I do. I'm depending on a lot of epics and just 2 legendary heroes. So, well, in the other comp, I do have Turtle, but I'm mainly using him for the lore bonus. So as I start getting more heroes into the account, hopefully soon, maybe we can start getting into that 30,000 and 50,000. Okay? All right, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in and watching, and I will see you all next time on the next Watch Over Realms video.
Defeat won't define me.